Hello, guys, and welcome to this episode of Success Leaves Clues. Today, my guest is the amazing Chris Janzon. Chris, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having us, Rob. Really appreciate the opportunity.
I'm so glad to have you on the show, and can't wait to hear your story and your journey and find those little nuggets of truth that are success elements that we can all adapt. So, Chris, tell us a little bit about how long you've been in real estate and how it all started for you.
Yeah, so mate, I got in 2008, just before the GFC incepted our shores. So no better marketplace, I guess, to enter a new industry. I previously came from a service industry, corporate background.
Yep.
Straight into the depth of sales, GFC economy, real hard-hitting conversations and difficult conversations. But I wouldn't change it for the world, mate. I think that's the best market to work in, when you need to learn a certain set of skills in a tough market, sets the right foundations for long-term longevity in this career.
I love that. You just reminded me while you were saying that I started in 2002, just coming out of about 5 years of real hard market where I am. And all the guys that had been in there at that time, they used to chew me up and spit me out because I had no skills. And they had all the skills that they had learned during those more challenging times. So that's awesome.
Yeah.
And so tell us a little bit about, so how old were you when you started? What are your memories of those first few months or whatnot?
Yeah, so I actually got into the industry because of a best friend of mine, whom I'm still best mates with for 33 years now. He got into it, really picked up traction quite quickly, and he actually said, look, you're actually better with people than what I am. I think if I can do all right in this industry, you should really have a crack. But I was pretty complacent. I was on a good corporate wicket. Had been with the same employer for many years. So, it kind of just started with an initial meeting with the principal of the agency at the time that he worked for. He kind of connected that up really cleverly. Went from a meeting to then I was living in Brisbane at the time, Queensland, with my father. Was looking to come back to Adelaide, but just didn't have any real strong aspirations to. But went from a meeting to then the next day I had a formal letter of offer, and that's when it got real. And I thought, okay, Adelaide's always been my home calling. It pulls on my heartstrings. My mum, my little brother was here, and I thought, let's take the leap of faith. Got into a franchise business at the time. And was pretty much in that franchise business throughout my entire real estate career, until the business owner that I worked for decided to change locations and go out of the area that we specialised in. So my former business partner at the time bought the business, and then eventually we ended up in a business partnership. Yeah,
awesome. And quite a different scenario from being a business owner to being just the straight up agent that's, listing and selling properties. And you're one of those guys that does both. So that's, we've got a lot to learn from you. Maybe I'll ask you this, and we'll get further into more real estate talk in a minute, but what does success look like for you? How do you define that in maybe your own personal life or your own business life? How do you go about and structure that?
So for me, Rob, I've seen it all in my time, from high performers doing massive volume, writing big GCI, being up on the stage and the awards and the glitz and the glamour. I guess in my early stages, mate, when I was a bit more youthful, I loved that. I was around it, I guess, and it kind of, I got absorbed into it to some degree. But as I matured, and I still did a fair amount of volume as well, I'll transact on average, anywhere from probably 65 to 80 homes a year in my marketplace. So, but there's guys, that's modest. There's guys in my marketplace that are doing over 100 transactions, 120, 150 transactions a year. But as I matured, mate, success for me wasn't about the trophy and the awards shows and being up on stage. Becoming a business owner, I actually found more passion in seeing my guys and girls getting on stage and getting the accolades and the awards. But then as I continued to mature throughout my personal life and professional life, it more so just came about a balance in life, and having, a lot of people say having a work-life balance is important, but not many people actually live by that mantra, though. They say it and they preach it, but they don't actually live by that value. So I'm also about a quality of business now rather than the quantity. It's not the conveyor belt approach that I take. I'm very, hands-on with my clients right from the beginning to end. So for me, Rob, success now is about work-life balance and it being blended, not heavily weighed one side.
Yeah, I think that's so important. I suppose as we all progress through life, what was important when we were younger is not what's important now. And that's such a good learning. And for those of you watching, if you are young and you're enjoying all the glitz and glam, that's fantastic. Go for it. But for those of us that are a little bit more seasoned, sometimes it is nice to just go, how good is life? Let's not let's not waste every day working with people that aren't our ideal clients. And on that, how do you still work a patch or an area, or how do you do that?
Yeah, definitely. So, Rob, I've had the same farm area, 1,874 homes since 2010. I started getting into that area and have consistently upheld around about a 50 to 53% market share year in, year out. It's the median price there is around about 350 to 360,000. So there's lots of turnover. There's good first home buyer opportunities. We do get interstate investment happening in there, and there are also larger family style homes. So it's a good versatile area. I mean, whilst I say the median price is 350 to 360, I've sold some homes in that area that are 450 to 480K. So it's a bit of a blend of everything. I'm a resident in that area, so that helps. I live in that patch. I shop at the same shopping centre that all my clients go to.
Takes you 2 hours to go through Coles or Woolies.
Exactly. Yeah. My wife hates going to the shops with me there, mate, because I get pulled from pillar to post. We just go in there to get dinner for the night. It's like, hey, Chris, how's the market? What's been happening? Did you sell that one around the corner? How long was it on the market for? All that good stuff.
You're the rock star in the area. I used to work with a girl, and she used to always talk about, like the kiwi section of the fridge and produce. She got so many listings from hanging out there, getting her kiwi or whatever.
Yeah. No, I love it, mate. It's when you're invested personally in a space, it just makes it so much easier to talk to your marketplace. When the bus stop that's in the street, what bus goes down that street, it's 800 meters to the public school for high schooling. It's a K walk to obviously primary schooling. So when you're immersed, it just comes to you naturally. It's not like it's scripted. It's really natural.
Being the area specialist or the area expert, it's so important, and as from that perspective, working with buyers that are new to the area, it's so helpful, just an extra layer of value to be able to say, well, those are the schools, that's where the churches are, that's where the points of attraction are, and that's fantastic. And so
I don't have one on me. I can grab one, but I just do once a month a community report in there that gets letterbox dropped every month religiously.
And you pay a company to deliver that, do you?
Yeah, so I've actually, funnily enough, I've sponsored 2 boys that I've been doing it for 10 years with them now. They started when they were probably 7 and 8 with me, doing it with their mum and dad, dropping it to now they're 17, 18. They're still doing it as pocket money to this day. They live locally. They drop it every month for me. In the report, it's just what's sold in the previous month. There's some general demographic, supply, demand, migration, population particulars. In there, I put a bit of community factual information, so what's happening locally. But that goes out religiously every month. Then I do stuff ad hoc, so cool, sexy looking stuff like that. That's just a little A5.
That's a photo of you?
I do not put photos of me on the front for obvious reasons, Rob. We want to attract business, not detract. But on the back, we do some, some stuff that's just factual. This is a property that was on the market with another agent for 93 days, didn't sell. I took it to market 1 week under contract. So just telling a little bit about a story. But I like stuff that's not, cliche real estate. Something that pops and most people get that in the letterbox and they think, well, what is this? It's a bit generic. So
yeah, spaghetti bolognese recipes and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. That, for those of you listening, that's a no on the recipe cards.
Yeah, no, I'm no cook by any means, mate.
Hey,
So
let's
you don't
talk
want
a little bit
recipes from
about
me.
you. So you obviously are doing stuff in print, and that can do a lot of things. You're also big into social media. How's that working for you?
Good. I wouldn't say I've mastered it, but it's trial and error. Like, you got to throw yourself in the deep end in this space. And, I've seen guys and girls being a business owner who, like, my market report in my area cost me $458 a month, right? Yep. That's just if I get a listing or not. Then this stuff is, another couple $100 to go out for 200 of those generically. So my BDA is costing me about just over 13 grand a year.
Yep.
To farm.
Are you at least earning that back?
Yeah, well, the way I look at it, Rob, is if you get 2 sales, it covers your marketing initiative, and every sale after that, you're ahead. You're in the green.
I love it. I work with a guy, and he calls that house money. You've invested into that marketplace, and it's returned so much to you. And it's fantastic.
Yeah, but social media, look, it is the new. I put a post up the other day. Your social print is your new consumer proof, I guess, of who you are and being known. No longer is it about how many signboards you have in the marketplace. The new signboards as an agent is how many times is a consumer seeing you on social media. Yes. So I'm still learning in that space, but as an agent, you really have to throw yourself in the deep end. Like Glenn Twiddle showed me some really cool stuff that I've never seen before, but even before that, it was just trialing and erroring and putting yourself in front of the camera and taking yourself out of your comfort zone more often than not. But what I find is raw is real, and more people love raw and real.
The authentic approach.
Yeah, well, I used to spend more on pre-recorded videos every month.
Yeah.
But now I'm doing more raw and real stuff. I'm investing just the same budget into boosting and promoting it and really getting targeted. And I'm getting more traction from that. I'm getting anywhere from 8 to 15 organic likes to my Facebook page weekly, not paid.
Yep.
And these are people that I haven't approached. They're liking the page because they've seen what they like what they see, essentially.
Yeah. And for those of you agents that are just dabbling in social media, the reason why that is because the platforms such as Facebook, they actually prefer that, and the algorithm identifies that because Chris is going live in a lot of cases, that the algorithm identifies that he's going live, and then it wants to create that content and disperse that content, and so it's actually helping him out, and it's wonderful if Facebook is supporting your business growth. So that's fantastic. That's fantastic. Were you nervous when you first started doing those videos?
Of course, mate. We're all humans at the end of the day, and it's daunting, when you get in front of a camera, even if no one's there. But, working with Bjorn, love it because he's like, mate, I'll hold the camera and you just talk and I'm going to film and follow you. And we just throw each other in the deep end.
I love that team approach, and I love that energy. And it's like, hey, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, you're on.
Bang, let's go. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I love it. And I remember the first time I listed a property, and I couldn't work out how the people had heard about me, or why they called me into an appraisal. And then all of a sudden there was a knock at the door because they were older, and there was a knock at the door, and we opened the door, and their daughter popped in. She goes, "Oh, it's actually you." And her daughter had seen some live Facebook thing that I was doing from a local park and said, "Oh, get this guy in. He knows the local area."
Yeah.
It's just like that. Becoming a known option in the area. That's fantastic. So what's your goal? While we're in this social media space, talking about that, what's your goal as far as how many times a day or week are you posting? And without getting into budgets and that kind of stuff, are you boosting those posts or how are you doing that?
Yeah, like I'm putting something up every day, but it's not always just results and for sale and sold. It's got to be stuff that's live and real, combined with a bit of imagery, some substance that's factual, whether it be testimonial or sold result.
Yep.
you know, like Monday mornings, I do a Monday motivational quote as well. So
Yep.
people can see it's really me. You know, I think some of the stuff that gets the greatest traction is often when I'm not in a suit,
Yeah.
you know, in the real estate cape. So,
Yeah.
you know, sometimes shooting it on a Sunday evening with your cap on and a hoodie, and people connect with you because you're human.
Yeah.
But yeah, look, it's small little increment investments too, though, Rob. Like some of the live stuff that I do, if it's talking about a specific listing,
Yes.
make sure you're tagging the location of that listing, the suburb. But when you know, I might spend $23, $11
Yeah.
to boost it over 5 or 4 days within that region, a 2 to 3 kilometer radius. It doesn't need to be hundreds of dollars. Like you can literally get return off of cents, not dollars.
I just love it because some of the big names, without mentioning other big names that are portals or those kind of things, you know, they're so used to getting hundreds, if not thousands of dollars for each seller involvement, I would say. And yet we're getting so much more response and traction for pennies on the dollar compared to those major investments. So that's
spot on. Look, I had a listing today, Rob, and I talk about a coming soon pre-release before we even hit the open market.
Yep.
And I get more sellers that are more invested in when I'm talking about the coming soon pre-release stuff before we're even on the portals. They love that stuff. And this is what I'm talking about when I'm coming out, when we get the photography done, how I'm going to Facebook Live, tour your home. I'm going to release it to the audience that follow me there first. And then when it gets to talk about the portal, I'm like, do you want to understand the difference between Premier, Feature, Standard, Highlight? No, that's fine. We know it's all the same online. So you kind of skip over all that portal stuff and spend more time on the pre-work leading up to even being on the market.
Yeah. And your market's quite buoyant at the moment. So these coming soon style campaigns, buyers are actively seeking them out. They're eye-catching. There's, you know, they've already missed out on 2 or 3 or more properties, and they don't want to miss out again. And I think that's such a fantastic way to deliver the properties out, because I mean, everybody's walking around holding a smart device of some kind, and whether, you know, that they need that dopamine hit, so they're constantly looking at their screens and worrying about having the FOMO, the fear of missing out. So they're constantly on there. If we pivot just for a minute, let me just ask you a little bit more about mindset. What do you do around mindset and training when things don't go right?
Sure. Look, I've always been religious with my daily routine. Always have. Now, I'm no athlete by any means, Rob. And we're just talking about eating well.
We were talking about that before we started.
We're both guilty.
Not about Chris not being an athlete, about me not being an athlete.
Well, I can assure you, I'm far from. But you know, for me, I'm an early riser. I love getting up early. My day starts at 5:30. I train from 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. By 7 a.m., I'm having coffee and I'm literally in the office ready to go. I formulate my to-do list for the day. I log into Agent Box, our CRM, my scheduled tasks are already there to go. And I just hit it straight away. Get through my non-negotiables is the aim before 9:30. So really the objective is my to-do list is finished by 9:30. My tasks are all completed, trails signed off for the day by 9:30. And all my client communication is done by 9:30. Real estate is always going to be in variables, right? So I know that, and I aim for 9:30 because I know from 9 a.m. that's when the phone starts to ring. That's when we get distracted. These variables start to hit us. So I try and make sure that routine is never broken, that structure, because after 9 a.m. I can't control what's going to come inbound to me. Yeah. But as long as I know I've done what I needed to do at the beginning of the day, then when it comes to the end of the day, regardless of the variables, I can switch off. My emails are responded to, my voice messages are deleted for the day, my to-do list completed, clients communicated, scheduled tasks done, I can switch off. One of the biggest things I hear in our industry, even as a former business owner with staff, is people can't switch off. Yeah. But then I look at what they're doing in their daily basis and I'm going, no wonder you can't. There's no structure, there's no formula at the beginning of the day. And that's why you're waking up at 2 a.m. going, geez, did I do that? Did I complete that? Yeah. So for me, it's just the foundations are the beginning of the day, mate. Yeah. And surrounding yourself with the right people too. You know, I'm blessed with Bjorn and Mike of the likes. I feel reinvigorated being around those guys and their energy, because I feed off energy and vibe and tribe.
Yeah.
So they're the two things that are important to me: the structure at the beginning and your tribe.
Yeah. And as a business owner, I know that you've recently changed business structures to a different model. We won't really talk about that particular model at the moment, but have you found that transitioning, because the stress and concern of being a business owner changes, doesn't it? Like you're worried about something and now you're with a new focus. How have you seen the differences?
Well, I'm going to take the feedback from my wife, Rob. She says I'm more present, I'm more relaxed, I'm more engaged, I'm at home more. So when your close circle are saying things like that to you, you can't deny it from previous feedback that I used to get. So that's the first thing that hits home.
When you're getting the feedback, you're never home, you're not available, put your phone down, you're more present, you're more yourself, you're more authentic, you're more, that's got to be a gold star straight there.
For sure, mate, for sure. Yeah, I just, the calls I get now are specific to me and my clients and my business solely, and that's it. So, that's probably the biggest thing, is the balance that it's given me. And I feel better. I feel more reinvigorated. I feel fresher. And I feel more balanced, and I've got that nice work-life balance now, whereas I had it all: business owner, asset, rent roll. And if you looked at my balance sheet, right, professionally, I looked good.
Yeah.
But internally, emotionally, the balance definitely weighed one side more so than the other, even though I wanted this side to balance it out more, so it just didn't. So this coming into this particular model has just opened that doorway again for me, and I feel Chris again. I feel youthful again. Yeah. And I'm just delivering a better quality experience to my clients too now.
So your clients are getting a better experience. Your family's getting a better experience. You're more happy within yourself. Yeah. Yep. Sounds like you made the right move for sure.
For sure.
Now, I want to just talk a little bit about maybe some advice that you would have for somebody that's maybe at that 1 to 3 year mark in their career. They're in an average market, so it's not hot, it's not cold. It is current time, so COVID implications. We won't talk about our Victorian friends, so let's assume the person can still migrate around their community. What advice would you have for those people?
Look, I think the best thing that you could try and do is try and go in under somebody. The greatest success I've had with, youthful young guys coming from completely different industries with no experience. And I love people, Rob, that have no experience, because they come with no bad habits.
Yes.
Experienced people can come with bad habits, and it's harder to change a bad habit than it is to create a fantastic habit in someone who's fresh and raw.
I totally so support that. It's so hard to coach some people that know everything.
Correct. Absolutely. So I would encourage, find an area that is local to you, like we'll talk about before, home, my patch. Very helpful if, in Adelaide, a lot of the guys and girls love to go to the eastern suburbs, because it's a high medium price and they think you get higher commission. The reality is every agent's thinking the same thing.
Yeah.
And when I go up that way, I find the agents down here in our lower end of the market get better fees, because there's more agents competing against each other for less business that way.
Yeah.
So find an area that, resonates with you, you've got some knowledge and familiarities with, but then find an office that has the ability or scope where it's not, there's a desk and you're on a retainer, and where we're in the next 90 days will determine what conversation you and the principal have. Find somebody who needs support, who's getting to a level that they need an associate. I believe being a PA is not the way to go if you do want to list and sell. A PA, and I've tried and tested both. Yep. PAs just want to work Monday to Friday, and they work 9 to 5, and they'll complete all their tasks in that time. But if you need anything outside of that, which you do in real estate, because we work 24/7, it's hard to expect that and break that barrier.
Yeah.
You really need an associate with an experienced person. So I would always encourage, if you're not 3 years, try and become someone's associate. Mirror their success, mirror what they're doing, going under them for an 18-month period like an apprentice or traineeship, and allow them to help you build your business within their business.
Yeah. And that is going to be a challenge for some, but if you search hard enough, there'll be someone like a Chris who's got, they've already made a lot of mistakes, you know, have already learned from that. And so can,
Yeah.
like the things that you're talking about here about mindset, about culture, about mentorship, those are such key things. I remember when I first got into the industry, which was not 100 years ago, but it seems like it. And the team that I joined, if you went to training, you were considered weak. If you, you know what I mean? Like it was just a completely different, very old school mentality. And I know that still exists within the industry. So we certainly would wish, if you're not happy where you are and you're in a toxic kind of a scenario, move. You know, there's a lot of different options, for you. So you've talked about structure, you've talked about mindset, you've talked about being a mentor and enjoying working with colleagues. What are some other tips, and you might not have any, I'm just asking you, what are some other tips you might have for real estate agents out there that might be listening to this about how they can jumpstart? So let's take, they're an agent, maybe let's take an agent my age, you know, coming up to 50, maybe just relocated into a new business model. What should they be doing to hit the ground running?
So one of the things that I used to love, and I remember there's one particular candidate, because when people go for a sales job in real estate, right, they treat it like a normal job of, I hope I get this job, right? I'll present and go through the interview process. But one of the things I used to do with particularly new people is I used to say, come and have a look at what we do, right? Yeah. And I've only had it probably twice in my time where you as a salesperson are interviewing the principal in that business as much as you are interviewing us. Yet 99% treat it as if we are interviewing them because we've got the opportunity. But I've had two people that came to me and said, look, and I could just see their skill set was there, like for them to actually approach us and say, I'm shopping you as much as you're shopping me. And I've done this with other agencies. And what I'm really looking for is what systems you use, what prospecting plans have you got in place, what are your marketing initiatives, how can you help me build a business plan? Whereas a lot of people who approach agencies in the early stages are more so, how many leads do I get a week? Yeah. Or how many leads is the office going to give me a month? That is the wrong approach. Yeah. So I would always encourage, if you're starting out, interview the agency as much as they are interviewing you and have them show you. Because when I had those two guys and girls that said, can you show me your CRM, your marketing initiatives, your prospecting plans? I was like, whoa, this is different. And I was on the back foot, but I showed them. Yeah. And they were shopping me as much as I shopped them. But, you know, and they've come on board ever since. And you just knew they were the caliber that they were going to do well because they were different to the rest. Yeah. So I think you really got to look at, you know, a business that's proven through market share, yes, and has a presence in the area, absolutely. But get into the hornet's nest and actually see, what are they doing? Don't take it on face value. Have them demonstrate the CRM. Like I did this the other week with a candidate and a potential person we're looking at, Rob. Yeah. And I said, look, don't listen to all the scrutiny, right? Because everyone's got a different opinion. Come in, plug in, and I'm going to show you how I'm marketing, prospecting myself,
this is
and how
how
I manage myself through a CRM. That's right. I said, take it. This is the gospel truth. I'm not hiding anything here. You're seeing live right now my systems that are helping me run efficiently as of today. Yeah. And when they said it, they're like, it's completely different to what I heard or been told. Yeah. 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 That's so good. That's so good. So guys, if you're out there and you're watching this and you are thinking about making a move, whether it be from one brand to another or a big agency or whatever it is, make sure you have a real understanding of what's on offer. And will it work for you? You know, is the culture right? Are the systems right? Or could they be right? You know, do you need to upskill? Like a lot of people that have been in real estate for 10 years or more, they kind of think they know everything. And the ones I see flourish, like I remember I was working for a very well-known Maine franchise that everybody would know. There was a guy there, and he was probably, I'll say at the time, he was probably 45. He was a mediocre performer at best, all right? We'll just say that. He wasn't in the same office as me. I used to see him at the quarterly awards. Mm-hmm. And then, so I had met him there, and he was just, you know, one of the rest of us sitting in the back of the room.
12 months later, the guy's on stage accepting awards for this, that, and the other thing. And I was like, what happened? You know, like, how is that possible? And it was just that. He got a system that resonated with who he was. It was authentic to him. It was a process and a system-driven scenario. He got coaching and he implemented, and all of a sudden, bang, his business changed dramatically. And of course, obviously his finances changed and his abilities to do things changed. And so good. Chris, when you're looking at interacting with clients, I like to ask this question as well. Do you have a specific avatar of the people that you want to do business with?
Not really.
Like an ideal client.
Your mums and dads are probably your most common client that I deal with. White, blue collar mums and dads, really generally aging from probably mid 30s up to early 50s is probably my most common client and seller. I don't get me wrong, I deal with a lot of first time buyers, so younger generation, mid 20s to early 30s, but that's generally from a buying perspective because of the entry level market that I'm in. But yeah, generally it's your mums and dads, built up a bit of equity, cycle of turning over of properties. It's blowing out a little bit. It used to be probably 4 to 6 years. Now I reckon it's more around that 6 to 8 years is the cycle.
I agree.
Now, so yeah, that's the main demographic that I deal with.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. And when you're dealing with those people, why do you think people choose to do business with you?
Look, one of the things that I pride myself on is talking about my points of differences. I will never talk about another agent or agency. And I've had that, like, I won a listing the other week that they gave me feedback on what the other agents said about myself when I was in the room. I don't think that's why they lost the business, but it probably didn't help their credibility. So I don't focus on someone else's game plan. I don't focus on their brand, who they are. I just center the whole meeting around them. And then within that, once I discover what their needs are and their next move, I then build a bit of a plan around that. And I really focus on my points of difference. So, the social media stuff we're talking about, how I love running, coming soon pre-release, what that looks like, when we're on the market, what that looks like. I'm really raw. Like I'll explain to them how we handle offers, and I'll do a live negotiation with them in their living room, whether it's one offer or multiple offers, and what that looks like. So I think that's the main thing that I pride myself on, Rob, is points of differences. But I love to tell a story, mate. Like I listed one today in my farm area, and I sold 2 doors up. So I just took the brochure out there and I explained to them, guys, this is what happened next door. I'm going to talk to you about what happened before, what happened during, and the end result. And then we're sort of going to, manipulate that into a formula that suits your home and your needs.
So good, so powerful. Just by way of recapping our conversation, I think you guys that are watching, you can see that Chris runs to structure, and I'm sure that he believes that structure gives freedom. He has an ability to connect with people. He has a intention about doing business in a specific area, so he doesn't keep moving farm areas all the time. And he's very systematized in the way that he's doing business. And those things are amazing, amazing skills if you can adopt those. Chris, any final thoughts before we close?
No, not really, Rob. I'm just disappointed. I had a little market report I was going to share here, but I've left it in the car of what I do in my farm area. But if any of the viewers want it, we can share it. And
perfect. Just reach out to Chris. He'd be happy to connect those things. Guys, thanks so much for watching this episode. Chris Janzon, thank you for being one of the true heroes in Adelaide.
Thanks, Rob. Appreciate it. Thanks, everyone. Cheers.